Good morning, everybody. Yamez with Island Metal Forge. Stephen Parsons, I see that. I've always wondered how did Yamez get the video for this. I can only assume that you're talking about the fish. I took a camera and put it underwater. Simply that. um, Up to the chat. Hello, Stephen. Shane Lalone, Jack Pines, Mick Chu, Paul Orchard, Dylan Corwin, Robert Whitney, A. Ron Dennis. Uh, scrolling, and Eric, how you doing? Yep, emergencies happen. Yes, they do. Um, what's up, Granddad? Aimless Adventures. Uh, Mr. Pekka, how you doing? Mr. Paul from Carnage Creations. What's up? Sorry about the delay. Uh, yeah, it was a delay. We just wanted to make sure we were all set, and we're set. So, uh, boom.
Ish.
Set-ish. Set-ish. Um,
Yeah. Close enough.
Close enough. Close enough for hand grenades and horseshoes. Um, with me, the Garth to my
Wayne.
Wayne. Thank you. The Garth to my Wayne. With me as always. We've-
Party on, Wayne.
I'm like Garth to my blank. Party on, Garth.
Party on, Wayne.
Wayne's World. Party time. Dylan Corwin says Gallium, like Steven said, is a soft metal that can melt in your hand, but now I know it to be mostly used in circuit boards and LEDs. I will tell you this, it is not a soft metal.
Uh,
Whoa, you had a bit of an audio hiccup there. Um,
is surprising. Okay.
but yeah, so anyway, I'll go into my week.
Yeah, there you go. I'm almost ready.
Continuing, yeah, continuing the theme, the weekly theme that I had last week. It has been just balls to the walls busy. Um, just wow busy at work. I've got three of the new construction jobs, and one of them I passed inspect. I okay. The job site didn't pass inspection, but electrically I passed inspection. Uh, they've got to put up some more cripplers and get a re-engineered print to prove what blah blah blah. And then the plumber needs to re-go over all their stuff because they've got a leak somewhere. Yeah, but electrically we're good. So pay up. uh, my job is done on that one, and now I am on to house number two, and that I'm hoping to slam jam and run and get done by like Wednesday, so that on Thursday and Friday I can get into job number three and start running, drilling some holes and prepping some paths, so that while I'm gone at Quad State, uh, Jeannie and Jay can get over there and start running some wires, so that at least it looks like we've started the job. Oh no, that didn't work. So I've still got this coin merge ding going on, and I have no clue how to stop it. I have no clue where
And
it's coming from.
I just realized why it doesn't bother me during the live show. I
Because
can't hear it at all.
it's on my desktop.
Right. Yeah. Because I noticed when I was busting your chops earlier in the week when I was editing, I was like, man, that is irritating. But I was like, I don't understand why, but I don't even notice it during the live show. And then yeah, no, that's because I don't hear it during the live show. And then when I go to editing, I'm like, oh, you got to be freaking kidding me.
Yeah. Let me go into Sunday morning show of my what's my jiggy. Um, yeah, like there's literally no uh no reason for it to be going on. Um, no reason whatsoever for it to not on any of these, not on any of those. Yeah, I mean it is the most bizarre thing, and only thing I can think of is to uninstall, open file location.
Oh, okay. Now, so I finally got everything there. What is quad state? Never heard of it. Well, Matthew, you're gonna have to go back and watch last week's episode or listen to it when it uploads on Wednesday, and you know, there you go.
Yeah. Um,
Stephen
it
Parsons
was
said, "Now we found a way to drive Sully up the wall." Oh yeah, there are many ways. That is just one of them.
yeah,
And I didn't even realize it until the very last episode I was editing, and then I was just like, there were so many dings. I was just like,
yeah. It's
and I can't remove them.
it's a chat ding. Anytime somebody chats in that group, and it dings. So, uh, but the funny thing is I don't hear it unless I'm live. It's so bizarre, you know. Um,
See, and mine doesn't make any noise at all.
well, this one I have the PC app, and
Right.
I just uninstalled the PC app.
Okay.
So
Well,
hopefully that fixes it. Uh,
but okay. Well, to be fair, I mean, I have the app on my phone. I don't have it on my PC yet. But it's I don't have any notifications. Like my no, none of my notifications are audible. Everything is what do you call it? Silent. So I get the little push notifications at the top of the screen. But yeah, because I mean, if I had notifications that made noise, I mean, I wouldn't ever sleep at night. It'd just be ting tong,
well, yeah,
making all kinds of noises.
the app does have a way to silence it on the phone and whatnot. So I have that, but I have the PC app, and I just realized I have it, but I don't use it. I just use the web browser, and uh, it may be that it's feeding off of that for some reason, and I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see that.
Right, right. Shane LeBlanc asked, "What time does at night does Quad State close at?" You want to handle
Okay.
that one, yeah, man.
Yes. So with quad state, in that picture, if you will, you have anywhere from 1,500 to 3,000. Whatever the numbers are. Blacksmiths camping. Um, at the Miami County Fairgrounds, and uh, during the day, they got the tailgate sales, they got the food vendors, they got the demonstrators, they got this, that, everything else. Everybody gathered around anvils, hanging out, and come evening, people are grabbing dinner or cooking at their campsites or whatever, and people are still blacksmithing, standing around anvils and fires, blacksmithing, and oftentimes it goes well into the night. It doesn't close. It's just people kind of just go to bed, and then like uh, same thing at the coffee grounds. Like one of us is bound to be up at the anvil until 1 in the morning, and then be the first one up at 5 or 6. You know, uh, swinging a hammer or turning some wood or doing something. You know, so it kind of appeals to early birds. It appeals to night owls. It appeals to you know uh, everybody. So it doesn't really close. Yep, there's also, if you're a night owl, you can walk around and find somebody going at it. At the anvil. Well, one year there was, never
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mind.
We'll not get into that fiasco.
Yeah, Brick and Barefoot Forge. uh, but yeah, it's like I would like to. kind of walk around there at night, be there at night. I camp at the coffee grounds, so it's like I usually leave there in the evening and go catch dinner with John and the squad. Um, but it'd be nice to walk around there in the evening, and kind of get drunk and walk around.
Yeah. Hey, well, I was gonna say, let me get my week out of the way.
Yes.
Yeah. My week was yeah, nothing. As luck would have it, every year I take off the back half of September to go to Quad State. And, and theoretically, if that were, or since that is the case, theoretically, the first 2 weeks of September, I should be just busy, balls to the wall, just moving rigs, working triples, working doubles, working quadruples, and getting her done. And it never works that way. I mean, because then I would have, I could make enough money in one paycheck to pay all my bills for the entire month, and the beginning of October. But that never happens, of course. It always happens that I'm taking off the back half of September, and the front half of September, everything is slow. And a big reason for that, I mean, honestly, is September is the end of the fiscal year, and things are kind of winding down as budgets don't really come into effect until October. So, so it's not that the work stops happening. It's just things just kind of slow down, and honestly, it's a gradual slowdown until about March. Um, it's I mean, I've been doing this for well over 20 years, and it's always been this way, and so March is when things really start kicking back off. And so it didn't matter which event I was going to, whether it was Quad State or the Spring Fling. I was coming into Quad State, it's like I don't work at all coming into it. So I'm like, oh, money's going to be tight. I've got to sell some stuff at Quad State in order to make my gas money, or, things like that. And then going into the Spring Fling, it's like I haven't worked very much in 4 months, and it's like there's no spare money to be had. And right now, all the work is starting to kick off. We're working 120-hour weeks, and I'm leaving. And
Hmm.
so then then when I've got all the extra cash, which is May, June, July, and August, there's nothing going on. So. Yeah,
That's
this year has proven to be the same. I did manage to work like 2 days last week, 3 days, and log a whopping 44 hours, which by any means is better than nothing. I mean, that is that'll do, donkey. That'll do. Yeah, I gotta make 30 hours a week to break even on my bills. Um, and fingers crossed, I get to do that this week, because this is the last week before quads. And honestly, I mean, like, I figured up my finances yesterday, and even if I don't work again for the rest of the month, I can still pull it off. Oh, it's going to be tight, but I could pull it off. So, um, yeah, I'm not happy with the fact that work is kind of, um, as per usual, slow, but you know, I should be used to it by now. As I look around my garage, and I'm like, what do I have in here I could sell?
Jeez.
But that's I get to this spot every year. It's like I
It's like
don't like being below a certain level of cushion. You know what I mean? In case of emergencies, and then every year I wind up delving all the way to the bottom of that cushion for Quad State,
it's like
and
bartenders in Key West.
it makes me very uncomfortable.
It's like bartenders in Key West, or like you work your ass off, through season, and then you got like nothing, no tips. So,
Yeah.
you know,
So shall we segue into the middle of the week and get that out of the way?
yeah, I watched your video. I actually posted the link to the video. It's pinned in the chat, and I'll post it again just in case people don't know how to get to the pin. Nope, delete.
All right. Well, I'll start with that. So I had assumed, because now, like any project that I do, I don't really or when I have an idea that I think is neat and original or something like that, I don't research it first because I think that takes the fun out. I mean, like it's like I'm gonna have an experiment,
Right.
and I don't want to have a biased opinion of what's gonna. I don't want what is that? It's not I do not want observational bias, which is
Right.
that's where you read about something or whatever, and you already formulate in your mind how something is going to go or how something is, and then when you see the evidence, you're just like now I must have done something wrong, or you just discount the evidence as being wrong because it does not match your observational bias. So I try not to when I'm gonna try to experience something new, I try to avoid observational bias. So I did not research gallium. I mean, other than the fact that the stuff that I already know about it, like its melting point is and freezing point is 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So at STP, standard temperature and pressure, excuse me, it is a liquid, and so like you can literally hold it in your hand and watch it melt. Now that does not happen very because I mean you think, oh well, your body temperature is 98.6 degrees. Your hand is not 98.6 degrees. It actually takes a considerable amount of work to melt gallium in your hand. I did try that when I was doing my video, and I was like closing my fist over it and like holding it tight and open it back up, and just like the surface of it, it may be starting to get a little sticky, and I'm like, man, this is going to take 20 minutes, to melt this gallium in my hand. So I just went inside and ran some hot water over my hand to melt it real quick. And I mean, that literally took just 20, 30 seconds to melt the gallium. And so I had assumed by knowing, okay, well, this thing is liquid here, and I just think of it like I would any other metal, leading up to its melting point, it should have
A, a
an
malleable.
area of malleability and ductility, right? And there has to be this temperature range in which in this range it is hard and crystalline. In this range it is malleable and ductile. And in this range, and then when you get to this point, from there on it goes liquid and then gas. As you reach the boiling point. So I assume, like most metals, that gallium would follow that same. It's not a bell curve. But that same curvature of state of matter. And so that's what I was going with. So I'm like, okay, so I got all kinds of stuff set up. I got some ice water. Well, and also to be fair, um,
To be fair.
I to be fair, yeah, I when I originally was going to do the video, it was like 108, and so I mean, like I was going to be reaching the melting point of gallium on a regular basis, so I was planning on like dunking it in ice water to keep it cooled off. And I bought a new temperature gun just so because the one I have is a Blue Point one that is every bit of 30 years old. Bought it off the Snap-on truck back when I was an aircraft mechanic, and it may or may not be the most accurate thing in the world at this point in time. So I bought a new one, and that proved to be problematic in its own way. But so through working with the gallium, the first thing I did was, okay, so it would not come out of the little plastic vial that it came in a solid state. I mean, it was stuck. And I mean, like I whacked it, wailed on it, not wailed on it, but just like tapping it on the counter and stuff. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to have to melt it and pour it out into a mold. So, oh, excuse my coughing there. I don't have a mute button right now. um, so what I did was I took some wax, poured it in a cup, and then I poured in I stuck a Sharpie pen down into the wax and let the wax dry or solidify, and then
Yeah.
I poured the gallium in that cavity in the wax left by the Sharpie pen, and then basically I put that in the refrigerator to keep, and forgot it for 2 weeks. Anyways, came back home, pulled the gallium out, and at refrigerator temperature, it's just like, all right, it's kind of chilly, so I just grabbed it, put it on the anvil, and just tapped it with the ball peen hammer, and it shattered. And I was like, huh. All
Huh.
right. Well, I didn't really expect that, right? I mean, like that literally caught me. I mean, if you watch the video, you could see I'm just like I just kind of stopped for a minute. Like it was very similar to reaction to when I was cutting the titanium and the cutting wheel exploded on me.
Yeah.
It was just a completely natural, unexpected reaction where I was like, I was caught off guard, and I was like,
Huh.
huh. And then so I'm like, and I didn't really get every bit of the whole dang process on video. Like I did remelt it, and then had it at I got it re-solidified and brought it, melted it, put it back in the mold, which was also kind of problematic because then
The mold was
I
cracked.
the mold was cracked, so gallium leaked down into the crack of the mold, and it all didn't solidify. And so I was like trying to tap it out on the anvil, and liquid gallium is hitting and splashing and going everywhere. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I just kind of gave up at that point. But what I did do that I didn't film, just to satisfy my own curiosity, was I did take that piece that was solidified, which is maybe about half of it or whatever, three-quarters of it, and just sitting on my anvil at 78 degrees Fahrenheit room temperature. I let it sit there for about an hour. So it's at 78 degrees, which is what 7 degrees below the melting point. That's it, 7 degrees,
Yeah.
which is as warm as I could get it, because that is atmospheric temperature at the time. I couldn't really get it any closer, and I did the same thing. I tapped it with a hammer, and it broke again. And so I came to the conclusion that gallium is brittle all the way up to its melting point, which not brittle like it. I mean, I imagine if you put it in like a press and slowly compressed it, because it is considered soft, that it would probably spread out. But the rapid tap of the hammer induces a shock into the crystalline structure of the gallium and makes it break. And it breaks in kind of a conical shape. Like it's not a straight fracture. The fracture is
Dang
conical in
it.
shape. And so I wanted to read a little bit about it, just right off. That was just kind of a recount of my experience. Okay. Now, gallium is a chemical element with a symbol Ga and atomic number 31. It was discovered in 1875 and is similar to other metals in its group like aluminum, indium, and thallium. Elemental gallium is a soft silvery metal in the standard temperature and pressure. In its liquid state, it becomes silvery white. If too much force is applied, hint with a hammer, the gallium may fracture conchoidically. That's what they call it. Okay. Since its discovery in 1875, gallium has widely been used to make alloys with low melting points. It is also used in semiconductors as a dopant in semiconductor substrates. The melting point of gallium is used as a temperature reference point. Gallium alloys are used in thermometers as non-toxic, environmentally friendly alternative to mercury and can withstand higher temperatures than mercury. An even lower melting point of negative 19 degrees Celsius is 2 below Fahrenheit. Well below the freezing point of water is claimed for the alloy Gallium, which is 62% gallium and 22% indium, and 16% tin by weight. But that may be the freezing point with the effect of supercooling. Gallium does not occur as a free element in nature, but as gallium-3 compounds in trace amounts in zinc ores, such as sphalerite and bauxite ore. Bauxite, by the way, is where we get aluminum from. Elemental gallium is a liquid at temperatures greater than 29.76 Celsius, which is 85.57 Fahrenheit, 85.57, and will melt in a person's hand at normal human body temperature of 98.6 Fahrenheit. Gallium is predominantly used in electronics. Gallium arsenide, the primary chemical compound of gallium in electronics, is used in microwave circuits, high-speed switching circuits, infrared circuits, semiconducting gallium nitride, and indium gallium nitride produce blue and violet light-emitting diodes. Oh,
Yeah.
so blue and purple LEDs are indium gallium nitride
That's
or gallium.
the what's it called? I know this. um, I'm blanking on the word. Filament.
Well, it's not. Yeah. The LED equivalent of a filament in an
Yeah,
LED. In the LED, the energy is arcing a gap.
yeah.
It's not really arcing, but it's jumping a gap, and the metal or
Flux is
what
coming
you
next
call it.
time, Roy.
Yeah, the metal or whatever it is, alloy. That's what I was looking for. The alloy used in the two electrodes determine the color of the light emitted by the diode. And in this case, Yeah, and just for the record, off the top of my head, I know the dude that invented that found the whatchamacallit, the I guess it would be gallium nitride produces a blue LED. The guy that figured that out, that using gallium nitride would give you a blue LED, he won the Nobel Prize in chemistry for that. Because that revolutionized the LED industry and made LED TVs possible. Because we already had magenta and cyan, but we did not have blue at the time. And when he found blue, it made LED TVs possible, because now we have all three colors with which to run the color spectrum. And yep, won the Nobel Prize in chemistry for that one. And
Nice.
I just remember that from when it happened for some reason. But back when you could make like the TV that's at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, that's like 100 and some odd feet by 300 and some odd feet. It's like that's a TV there now.
Yeah.
Um, Gallium has no known natural role in biology, and it behaves similar to ferric salts in biological systems, and has been used in some medical applications, including pharmaceuticals
There you
and
go.
radiopharmaceuticals. Elemental gallium is not found in nature, but is easily obtained by smelting. So, a very pure gallium is a silvery blue metal that fractures. I already said that. Like glass. Yeah. Very, very similar to glass. Um,
Yeah.
so, in any
We're
case, that's basically the Wikipedia version of gallium, on the backside of my personal experience with it. Now, I probably paid about $1 a gram for that, mercury, for that gallium. So it wasn't that it was like $20. It's 20 grams of gallium, worth every bit of the $20, just for the fact that the very first time I tapped it with a hammer and it shattered, and that
yeah.
that that huh
Dang it.
was worth the $20. It really was, because I think I stood there and looked at it for like 8 or 10 seconds, and while my brain wrapped itself around what just happened. And I love that. I love it when I'm presented with a situation where an unexpected outcome has occurred, and I'm trying to figure out why. It doesn't happen that often,
I
and
had I
it's a
talked to
good
you about
time.
it. I talked to you about it, and I had my theories. And without scientific equipment, and first off, again, apparently the whatever fix that I thought I did not fix. I'm still getting that coin merge ding every now and then, so I apologize.
Ugh.
Yeah. I'll talk to the devs, the developers, and figure it out. But my first off, I'd like to say, hey Roy, what's up, Donut and George Anderson and everybody who joined in. Talking gallium. If you haven't seen, Sully tried to forge gallium,
And,
and
and and and if you
and
haven't seen it, you're not missing much. Let me
it's
tell you that. It's
it's
like,
still neat.
yeah,
Stop.
my uh,
Just
my
you
my
losing. Just you
my
losing it
edited
over the
video
radio.
skills. Yeah, my video editing or edited video skills have gone in the crapper. Having only done like 2 videos in the last 2 years, and yeah, I really got to get my up my game, because oh god,
Yeah.
like even when I'm editing it, I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna do it over. So it just is what it is. It's crappy, but it gets a point across, and I promise I'll try to do better in the future. So,
Yeah. The,
uh,
the you fighting with the radio in the beginning was worth it for me.
oh yeah, yeah,
That
and
was
and see, I
great.
was it really, because
Yeah, I loved it.
I was one take. I was trying to do it in one take, and then my plan was I'm just going to edit all this out, because I kept restarting when they would say something on the radio, and I was just like, I'll just do it instead of stopping and starting the camera and doing it over and over again. I'll squeeze in my lines in between the radio chatter, right? And I'll just edit all the radio chatter out later. And yeah, and then finally I just got so irritated with it. I was like, oh. And this is me trying to work where I have to have the radio at a level where I can hear them say my name,
Yeah.
because I can sleep through that, right? And I don't hear a single thing until I hear my name, and then in which case I'm instantly awake, and I hear everything they say after they say my name. So anything leading up to it, I don't hear. Like, so if they're describing, all right, we need to do this, get the tandem over here to do that, whatever, and then they say my name, I got to get on the radio and be like, wait, what? Can you say that again? But if they say my name first, I hear everything they said after it. So
Yeah.
in this situation, I was trying to have the radio where I could hear if they needed me or something, but still get this intro bit done.
Yeah.
And then when I went to edit it, I was like, you know what, this is actually kind of funny. I think I'm just going to leave it in there.
Yeah. George Anderson, excellent question, and we'll get to that here in a sec. And Sully's trying to find the material that will weld at those magical cold temperatures. All metals.
All
Anyway.
metals. Yeah.
Now, my theory, because I was talking to you about it, my theory was that because it goes from a liquid to a solid and vice versa so quickly, that it doesn't have time. It. I. My theory is that the reason it's so brittle is it gets stuck it in a perlite state right away. There's really no way to heat treat it in any to control the grain structure of the steel. So my theory is that the reason solid to liquid or liquid to solid, boom, it's got a really hefty grain structure, and boom, you tap it and send a shock through it, and it just fractures along all those uh, whatever they're called, perlites, whatever they're called, you know. And so that's kind of my theory on it, but without any like conventional electrical or conventional testing equipment, there's no way for me to be sure that that's what it is. Um, Now, I've seen a few people talk about it or mention it in the chat, and one person said that's why it's not allowed on um, aircraft, and somebody said no, that's thermite. Now, I do know that gallium has a decaying factor to aluminum. It decays aluminum. Um,
I don't know the technical term with it, but I would call it amalgamate. Much the way gold and mercury like come together and form like a, yeah. I mean, mercury. Well, no, it's not quite the same because mercury will absorb the gold, and then you can evaporate the mercury and leave the gold behind. With aluminum, that's not so much the case. Like if you scratch an aluminum can and pour some gallium on it, it will dissolve the entire aluminum can, and you wind up with this chunky, mushy um, mixture of gallium and aluminum. And then if you drop that into, if you put water on top of that, like put that in a beaker and put it in water on it, the gallium and aluminum mixture will react with the water and produce hydrogen gas, and then it will leave the gallium behind and a layer of black powdered aluminum called aluminum. I think it's aluminum 3 oxide. So you wind up with gallium, aluminum 3 oxide, and hydrogen gas. So in all actuality, you could basically, I mean, well, I mean, because you're getting the hydrogen, you're using gallium and aluminum to separate water and oxygen to get, or water and oxygen, hydrogen and oxygen. So, I mean, technically, I guess it could be used as a fuel source.
right.
And then once the reaction is done, you can filter off the aluminum oxide and do whatever with that because aluminum oxide, aluminum 3 oxide is I do believe that is the grade of aluminum that is used in things that go boom. We'll put it that way. And but then you're also have your gallium back, and you can dissolve more aluminum in it and do it again. So there's that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
but you don't want to accidentally get gallium on aluminum because once it's exposed to it, I mean you can't just wipe the gallium off. I mean once it's come into contact with it, your aluminum is screwed. Because you can literally just if you scratch a piece of aluminum, just a piece of aluminum plate, let's say, because it's got an oxide layer on it, so it's an oxide. The aluminum oxide layer would protect it. But if you scratch it real quick, pour the aluminum or the gallium on top, and then wipe it off, come back in an hour, and you're going to have a hole in your piece of aluminum plate where that gallium just ate the aluminum out. Fun
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I mean, and there's a million videos on the internet about aluminum and gallium.
Sorry, I spent a long time setting up some uh, pre-Christmas emojis. Roy.
Oh, did we now?
Yeah, Roy's celebrating Christmas already. uh, but yeah, Stephen, yes, I am a Halloween's person. For years and years, I was uh, an actor for haunted productions, and I built haunted houses and stuff, and I'm Halloween centered ironworks. Roy's gonna,
There you
Roy's,
go.
Roy's gonna temporarily change his tag, his channel to Christmas centered ironworks. But yeah, so um, no, I will be honest. I did something this year. Complete side note to Gallium. I did something this year that I haven't done yet. I went ahead to the seasonal aisle of the local shopping center, Dollar General, and picked up a bunch of harvest smell good stuff. I personally think it's too early to even do any of that, but all the pumpkin spice and pumpkin pie scented stuff is out, and like the autumn
Yeah.
scents are out, and I went ahead and just filled my room with that. So
Now, what would be the reason for doing that, Yamez? I'm just curious.
I have no idea. Just psychosis,
Yeah, right, right.
pure psychosis. I don't care what people think of me. Now Sully's picking me up for Quad State, and we'll probably end up crashing here at the house just before. And I smoke in my room, and I figure I'll put some smell good in there so it don't stink like stale cigarettes. It probably still will, but you know Sully will deal with
Yeah,
it.
it is what it is. But I
Dylan.
yeah. Now I lost my train of thought. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Roy's right.
Yeah.
When talking blacksmithing, what sells better, Christmas or Halloween? The correct answer is huge for your blacksmithing business. I know.
Right. Yeah. People don't buy a bunch of stuff to give people for Halloween. Yeah.
And
You
that's
buy your own. You buy your own Halloween stuff.
back to blacksmithing. That's a nice little segue. Or it's not so much segue, whatever. That's a nice little quick topic too. And as a hobbyist, you make things that you would like. You know, um, as a business, you make things other people like. I've never
Right.
been a big fan of Christmas. Not that I don't like Christmas. It's just it's in
Not
in
a problem.
in my family. It's always just kind of happened. Um, but yeah,
Oh
same
yeah.
thing with
I know.
Valentine's Day. You just
Yeah.
it's what sells, so sell it.
I
You
was.
know,
That's. I found my train of thought.
Choo
Back on the
choo.
rails. Yeah, yeah. So no, because you were
Hey Tim.
mentioning the smoking in your room, the cigarette smoke smell, and all that, and I was like, you do realize you can't smoke in the car we're driving in, right? So, I'm also going to be not really what's it say, keen on stopping every 45 minutes for a cigarette break. So, uh, get you some gum or something. I don't know. No, we're trying to make time though. I think.
Oh,
And now all of a sudden Yamez is, wait, what? I can't smoke in the car. I don't
oh,
think I can go then.
fucking walk. That's right. Oops. Hot mic.
Right?
Whew, whew. No, I'll be able to manage. I'll be able to
All
manage.
right.
It'll suck,
Uh,
and you'll have to deal with me being grumpy, but I'll manage.
I'd just be like, Yamez, shut up and take a nap already. I got this.
Yeah,
Wait, no, don't do that. You're driving.
yeah. Um, but yeah, what's up, Tim? Uh,
Morning there, Kevin. I see you just made it home with a wagon of friends. Oh no, a wagon of hay.
just bales of friends. um, but yeah, so well, I'll deal with that. I'll have the I utilize alternative tobacco and nicotine things for situations like that. Obviously, when I worked in the kitchen, working 16 hours, I couldn't take smoke breaks every hour on the hour. So I have solutions. You know, um, just getting ready to make some Damascus. Nice. Is it? Is it a bit of twisted Damascus to go with that piece years ago? No, I'm sorry. I love you, Tim.
Uh,
Uh, no
uh,
spitting in the car. No, I got spitless stuff. Yeah, that's because obviously, again, I was in a kitchen. You can't sit there and spit everywhere. So it's just these little pouches that they're
oh
literally
God. Oh,
they're
I
literally
just
just nicotine pouches.
I just had this image of Yamez in a kitchen, and like on the back of the griddle, there's a water bottle spitter, and he's just sitting there, flipping burgers that reach back, stick it back on the back of the griddle. At some point, somebody bumps the edge of the griddle with their hip and knocks the bottle over onto it, and it's
Somebody gets a
oh,
nasty omelet.
oh.
Oh, oh, I as
In the
much as
words
I
of
love
let's say in the words of Wayne, hold my spitter.
as much as I love that kitchen service industry kitchen lifestyle and doing that, I don't know if I'd ever go back to it.
Yeah,
And I was deep into it for a while. It did take a bad turn, Tim. Yeah. But yeah, Tim, by the way, if you haven't already, I suggest you check out Sully's video on
no, no, no,
yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah. I think everybody needs to see it because just your reaction to it when you first struck it with the hammer was priceless.
Yeah, and
uh,
then after the fact, I got the whole little puddle there, or the whole little what all the pieces that were left. I mean, there's probably still little balls of gallium on the floor around here, and they'll be there forever. Much the same. I do have to say, gallium is considerably less problematic than mercury. Like if you
I'm
drop
sure
a like if you drop a little ball of gallium, a little ball of gallium hits the floor and it sits there. If you drop a little ball of mercury, when it hits the ground, it goes into about 1 million balls that are microscopic, and it goes in every direction. And
all the
I mean,
direct.
like I own a considerable amount of mercury, and I have dropped a lot. Not here. I mean, I haven't had my mercury out and messing with it in oh my gosh, not since 2012. So it's been 10 years since I've had my mercury out, because yeah, the last place I messed was when I was doing gold recovery up in Wyoming. And I mean, I had a massive shop there. I mean, my shop was like 200 feet long by 40 feet wide. And so I had a lot of room. And when I dropped my mercury, and I've never dropped more than, a few drops at a time, I would have to sweep the whole, I would literally like be standing at where I do my chemical reactions and stuff. And I would find little beads of mercury 10 feet away. and I would have to sweep the whole floor and sweep it all into a pile and put it in a container and shake all the dirt up like that and shake it and shake it and shake it and then put some water in it. And then all of the mercury little balls would find each other and collect, and I'd wind up with the mercury that I lost left in a little ball on the bottom, and I could take a syringe down in there and suck the mercury ball up and then put it back with the rest of it. But mercury was very problematic because also mercury is so expensive and so hard to get now because it's banned that you don't want to lose it. I mean, it's it rivals it. The cost of the mercury rivals the cost of the precious metals you're trying to recover with it. And so, but gallium, on the other hand, being $1 a gram, I mean, it hits the ground. I'm just like, all right, don't need that anymore, But the consistency, what I was getting at was the consistency in its liquid state is completely different. Gallium is much thicker and slower and a much. It's not denser because mercury is considerably heavier, but it does have a very shall we say it is less fluid, I guess. Maybe that's less fluid. I mean, what does that even mean? I guess you could compare it to the difference in surface tension. Surface tension, like say the difference in pouring milk and pouring rubbing alcohol. The one is kind of, even though they're both a liquid, one is kind of thicker than the other. Yeah,
Viscosity.
There you go, viscosity.
$20 super chat in from Christ Centered Ironworks, just letting everyone else know that the super chat button still works. Wink.
Yeah.
If you were wondering, and
thank you, Roy.
Thank you much, Leroy. Very much appreciated. Let's throw hands at Roy. I mean, throw clappy hands at Roy. Don't throw hands at Roy. Throw clappy hands at Roy. Merry Christmas, Roy.
Yes, big dog. He did drop a hot mic situation there. You heard that correctly.
Yeah, it was just a little quick accidental.
And Jack Pine said, as I commented, your video made me wonder how many metals actually prove useful for forging / casting versus those that are too brittle, malleable, etc. That was kind of the point, and it's also kind of a side gig on this whole metal of the week section of the show, which honestly started out as strictly a metal of the week, and now it's more of a topic of the week as we kind of meander through different things and sometimes take on a topic that is topical at that particular time in lieu of a metal, but. The kind of idea is looking for other metals that aren't steel that you could make something out of.
Right.
Like things like titanium. Titanium is completely forgeable, albeit at wicked high temperatures. And if you're doing it by hand, a lot of effort. Aluminum.
It ain't that bad.
Aluminum, very forgeable. You just. 1 second you're forgeable and 1 second you're puddled. So and there are many other metals that are that you can mess with, and by going through these little exercises once or twice a month, maybe you can come across something where you go, well, that's not steel. It's where before you would think, well, that's not steel. I can't do anything with that. Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, unless you're a sole occupation or hobby or whatever is just with things of the pointy stabby nature, in which case if it's not steel or I guess titanium as well, you don't really have a lot of options. But if you're doing just a lot of decorative stuff, there are a lot of options out there. I mean, and we're trying to explore some of those to see. And like I said, when I in my intro in my video, I got a problem with the server. In the intro of my video, I had planned on making a gallium leaf just for the let's see if we can do this and see what happens.
Yeah.
And was the point so that I would have a gallium leaf? No, because it's going to melt. The point was just, could I do it? And
right.
Well, apparently not.
Now what you got to do is make a little mold of a forged leaf and then pour the gallium in that.
Right. Well,
do it anyway. um, so hey, what's up, Adam? While
And
Adam's here,
I thought about going like this. I thought about going, well, there it is. I didn't do it on camera, but there's that gallium leaf.
yeah,
That's actually aluminum. But
yeah. Um, I got a what is it? Your camera's not on, right?
oh, isn't it's not?
No,
I
that's
turned it
why I'm
on.
not. You did, and it shut off.
Oh, I guess I can't do the. Hmm.
Yeah, this whole
Is
time it's
that?
been off.
Am I back on now?
You're on now. Um,
Okay, so
yeah, Adam. While we have Adam in the chat, 'cause I think he's on break. Yeah, so Adam is doing the. There you go. Adam is doing the redo, the remaster of the Practical Blacksmiths volumes, and coming out great. And I believe he will be here next week. And if I recall, it's hard for me to remember perfectly in conversation. Volume 2, which he just recently released, uh, has a flux recipes. It's either volume 2 or volume 3 is going to have the flux recipes. And I would like to think that next week's topic will be flux recipes of the past, present, and maybe future.
hey,
So
that's a decent topic.
that is a decent topic, and two reasons. Number one, because it's topical with what Adam is doing and how much he's learned about it and this and that. And two, because everybody just likes to get like a little dig into Roy's anti-fluxness.
Yamez. I guess we can call next week's episode "Get Fluxed."
Get fluxed. We'll do that if that's okay with Adam. If he feels like talking about flux, and if Roy wants to come in and defend his position, he's more than welcome. And
The
you,
F-bomb jokes are just not going to stop all day. It's like, oh, you can just flux right off.
yeah. um. So yeah. Now we're everybody in the chat's now asking about Flux. We'll talk about Flux next week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man. So yeah, we're coming up on a week to go for Quad State. So I mean, like, well, okay, 2 weeks to go for Quad State. It's a week before we go. So
Yeah, yeah. We always spend the first week, the first major, the majority of the week, camping and carousing and yeah,
yeah, yeah, that whole thing, yeah, and standing around and well, and actually enjoying the company of good friends. So
right.
yeah, so yeah, I'll be striking out on Saturday from here. I plan to make it as far as Atlanta, Georgia, the first night, and if I can come across anybody in between here and there, so be it. That'd be cool. So. And then I should make it to Yamez's in time for the evening stream on next Sunday night.
Yeah,
So we'll see how that goes.
right, right.
And of course, this is all barring some catastrophic, whatever. So
Some major issue.
yeah, yeah, barring any major issues, that is the plan.
Right. Yeah, Tim, it'd be great to have you there. Um, and yeah, this would be a great year because Roy's not going to be there to steal everybody's thunder with his dang
Oh my God!
carved
And I
hammer.
and I had the perfect thought for a gallery entry. I'm not going to tell you what it was, but I was like, oh man, that is so. And I got thinking about it. I was like, okay. And then I watched a video on how to do some of the, or a couple videos on how to do some of the elements of what I had in mind. Something that I don't think has been done in recently. I've never seen it. Not that it hasn't been done, but I haven't seen it. And I was like, man, that'd be great. And then I got to thinking about how much time it would take to do it, and I'm like, I've only got, well, I guess 2 weeks because I got another week at up in Ohio, and I was like, I don't think I can get it done. I don't think I can. I mean, like, because my original plan got kiboshed, and then my second plan got kiboshed when I messed up some curls. Like I had all of my material set out, and then I got like a portion of the way through it, and I realized I did something wrong. And then I was instead of just fixing it, I was just like frustrated, and I was like, yep, never mind, screw that. And that's a problem I have is when I do something wrong a lot of times is I get frustrated and I instead of going, okay, now I have to fix this. I tend to when it's something for me, when it's just an idea I have and I do something, I screw it up, I just get frustrated and I quit. Uh, I have not had that problem when forging a hammer because I don't know why. But when I do something wrong, I'm like, oh, my eye is going a little bit crooked here. I need to fix that. Okay, we'll hold the drift over here, up at an angle and smack it down in there so that the first thing it comes into contact with is those little off sides. You do that 3 or 4 times, you straighten the eye right out. So I can deal with that. And I know immediately what I need. I don't grab the billet and go, well, yeah, boy, that thing's kicked off at about 5 degrees. Start over. No, I'm like, I can fix that. It's easy. And honestly, I mean, like when I messed up those curls, I was like, it's easy enough to fix. I can either get it hot, get a pair of scrolling pliers, straighten that stuff back out, and curl it the other way, or I can heat it up and it's round bar. I can heat it up and just twist it, and you can't tell, But it was the fact that I did it, and I don't know. I don't know if anybody else gets there or if it's just me. But yeah, when I realize I've done something wrong without knowing full well which way I had to do it, and then I sat there and I looked at it, very similar to making tongs when you do your set downs, and then you get your two blanks together, and blank or tong blanks are supposed to be identical. That way, when you flip them, they're mirror images. And then when you sit there and you hold them up and they're backwards, so that when you flip them, they're identical. And you're like, and so, but anyways, when you're making them, a lot of times you do the first one and it just comes natural, and then you go to do the second one and you bring it out and you set it on the anvil and you're like, wait, and you turn it the
How
other
did I
way,
do
and
that?
you which way did I do my, and then you lose your heat and you're like, crap, back in the forge. Um, but when you're doing tong set downs, you have to think about that. Which way did I do this the last? Well, I do. Maybe for some people it just comes, intuitive. But here I am. I'm doing these things. I'm like, all right, I need to curl this one this way, this one that way, and then so basically one of them goes one direction, one of them goes the other direction. And then I get a whole string of them, 15 of these things done, and they're all curled in the same dang direction. And I'm like, I'm out. And I mean, literally, those pieces are still sitting on my workbench at work. I haven't touched them since. Oh, I have, because I've used them for other projects. I was just like, well, hey, I can do that. So like when that last hammer that I made for myself, I did a test. By the way, here we go. Remember we did handles a little while back, and we wondered about mesquite. And so I actually took a mesquite branch, about like yay, chucked it up in the lathe at work. I turned a mesquite hammer handle, and then sanded her down so it had the correct oval shape and everything. And I chucked that mesquite hammer handle up into that hammerhead. It was the one that I was showing you
Right.
on the hammer episode, that had that short handle that I really didn't like because it was round and short and made it very, very difficult to index. And I mean, like literally, I took one of those curled pieces that I screwed up, hot cut the end off of it, and then started to do a taper. And like before I even got the taper done, I was like, nope, 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 this is not going to work. Well, I did the same thing, except I chucked up that mesquite handle. Now, what I didn't notice was as I was turning it, or not as I was turning it, but after I turned it, it started to curve, which I had not expected. Um, and so by the time when I had it on the lathe, it was perfectly straight and down to the end. And then I went and I sanded everything into the shape of a hammer handle instead of just a cylinder with the palm reliefs and swells and whatever. Once I started making the oval, I got the oval made, and then I look at it and the hammer handle is like, and so when I put the hammerhead on it, the hammerhead is just it's cocked at an angle, which it's not. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because it's just kind of turned like that, which isn't a big deal. I mean, for testing purposes, anyways, because I can handle that. I mean, what do you call it? The center of the hammer is still over the, centered on it's the hammer head is not off to one side. It's just turned. And I that was weird to me that it did that. And I sat there and I worked that mesquite handle and I took one of those pieces and did a taper, cut it down. I did a leaf. And I mean, all the way to completion. I did the whole thing, curled the stem, put in the lines, all with that hammer, with that mesquite hammer handle, and it worked surprisingly well. I was very surprised. Now the hammer handle had issues because it was a seasoned piece of mesquite, so it did have holes all through it from the longhorn beetle larva, which I did my best to fill with. I didn't want to use epoxy to fill those because I did not want to alter the structural integrity of the mesquite. So what I did was I took my chunk of beeswax and rubbed it across those holes and filled those holes in those channels with beeswax so that the hammer handle would be smooth on the outside and my filler material wouldn't be making the wood stronger than it was, because I wanted to see if I could break it. That was basically I wanted to see how much vibration was transferred through the wood into my arm, and I wanted to see if it would snap off pretty quick, because this was also not a side piece of mesquite, with vertical grain structure. This was right down the middle of the log, with the middle of it, so the grain runs all the way around the hammer handle. And I surprisingly, now don't get me wrong, I didn't grab it and wail it on like the striking anvil as hard as I could, try to break the handle off. I did just use normal hammer
Forging.
technique and whatever. Yeah, normal forging technique, and nothing that I wouldn't do with any other hammer at any other time. It reacted surprisingly well. I will say it did transfer a little bit more vibration than I'm used to. It is a little bit harder, I guess, than say hickory. So there was that, but it didn't break, it didn't crack,
Oh,
and
I bet it looks
I could.
cool.
It looks really good. I will give it that. And so now that I've done that, I mean, I'm not going to leave it because it's crooked, so I will knock it back out and maybe try again at a later date. But it does have a really neat look to it, because of just the way mesquite looks with that dark and the light, and
If you have any mesquite branches material that is in a decent shape for hammer handles, that has that nice and worm-eaten look to it, that unique look to it. Um, Bring some to Quadstead. I'd love to make a hammer and try it. You know,
I'll see what I can find. I mean,
yeah.
I've got mesquite all over the place. Um,
Even if
so
it's a small hammer that I make,
yeah, my
you know.
only my only issue my only issue is with mesquite. It is, if it is dead and down or whatever, it is typically infested with longhorn beetle larvae, and I would not want to introduce those insects
Ah,
into a foreign environment where where they may become a what's that word?
infestation, invasive
No,
species.
invasive, where they would become an invasive species. So what I would probably do, and I may do.
Wouldn't you bake it?
Well, yeah, well, maybe. That's what I was thinking, because I think that's what I told Hans. I sent him some mesquite logs to mess with, and I think I told him I told him to keep them in the freezer. That way, any larva that might be in there will remain dormant or whatever. It won't kill them. They just go dormant, I think. And then, because they can slowly like eat and still like create body heat to keep themselves from dying or freezing. And I don't know. I mean, they survived the winter in logs here, even through Snowmageddon. We still got longhorn beetles. So, but I did tell him is like, but before you're going to use it, chuck it up in the oven at 200 degrees for like an hour and a half to get that whole thing, because that will kill them for sure. So,
Yeah, they're not
that
tardigrades or nothing.
right, yeah. You definitely baking it in the oven for an hour and a half will kill any invasive species that might be in there. but it also may alter the wood in a way that I'm not familiar with. I don't know. So what I may do is I may run over to my mom's house with the chainsaw this afternoon, depending on if I do or do not get a dispatch. There's a text message. Is it? Nope, not a dispatch. I may run over and cut down a tree, and then bring it green, because the beetles don't infest the green wood, and so there wouldn't be an issue there. And then you just have to dry it in your location, and you wouldn't have to worry. Granted, you don't get that worm-eaten look out of it, but you also don't get a beetle infestation. So there's that. Um,
Right.
I don't know. I could do it either way, I guess. I'll look
Yeah.
into it. I'll look into it later on this afternoon, because I know it's. I mean, typically when I think about mesquite, I mean, because that's our wood here. I think, well, cooking. I mean, like, because it is the best wood to cook on. Period, hands down. But it is also very, very beautiful wood, because it's got such contrasting colors in it.
Hmm.
With the softer wood on the outside being a white color, and then the heartwood being a mahogany red color. So.
Yeah.
I'll look into bringing some pieces to Quad State. Either I can drop them off at your house or bring them up to John's, whatever.
Either or, and also, you know. Um, but anyway, love it. Uh, Big Dog says microwave the wood for shipping. Uh,
Oh, that's not a bad idea either.
I bet it pops like popcorn, all the beetle larvae. Little neat thing. I don't know if you caught in the chat. Roy is working on his literal masterpiece for next year's Quad State Gallery. So this is the last chance for the jellyfish to actually have a even stage to stand on. um, so congratulations on that big move, Roy. That is it's a feat that any tradesman whatsoever would like to aspire to is a masterpiece.
For sure.
You know, um, I will be bringing the jellyfish. Hope we have room, and fingers crossed
Hey,
we
if
don't
if
have
we
to bring
need
it
to,
back.
it can ride on your lap.
Yeah. I got to put some sort of a towel or something around it because it dangling, lang, 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 lang. It clings and clangs, makes noise. So
Then when we get to John's, you'll have to weld all the pieces back on that broke off, right?
right, right, pretty much.
Hmm.
Did reply to the first idea. Yana's up above. I need scroll up, scroll up, scroll up.
Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Keep the chat a scrolling.
That is a great topic. I can't remember if it's in volume 2 or volume 3 either. Lol, I have so much info floating around my head. It's not funny. I feel you. Like I said at the beginning with these 3 new construction job sites that I've got. I've got all the wiring for the job 100 Seahorse in my head. Dang it, there's the coin merge thing again. I've got all the wiring and then the circuits in my head for one, and jump right into another. And now I've got all the wiring and circuits for that one, and I can't get 100 Seahorse out of my head. And then, end of next week, I'm going to be starting a third one. My brain might explode by Quad State. I'm going to just be a mess. I'm going to be like, oh, God. You know,
Yeah,
Jellyfish
and
was last year, and I will be bringing it again this year, Jack.
yeah, and I'm looking here. I'm sitting here on my 5-gallon bucket in front of my camera, and I'm looking over here at my toolbox behind the camera. And it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 5 pieces I need to do the entry I was going to do, and it's like 65 degrees up in here right now. And I'm thinking, hmm, could I get it done in a day? Hmm. Yeah, but if I did that, then Yamez wouldn't have a chance of winning again. So I should probably just hold off a year, right?
Yeah. Oh, Jack, if I still have it, I will bring it next year as well. I'm hoping to sell it this year. I haven't had much time to yet even market it, but I have had a few offers, uh, contingent on market conditions. So, uh,
Well, I mean, if it comes down to it, Yamez, I'll give you $10 for
no,
it.
no, ain't making a flip like that. uh, but
Oh,
anyway, oh,
oh,
what'd you just do?
oh man, hold on.
Th-
I
Thanks,
forgot.
Roy. Yamaz said, Roy says, Yamaz, your jellyfish sculpture was great. Yeah, key word there was.
4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Thank
7,
you,
8,
Roy.
9. Yeah, that's freaking awesome. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Woo. Okay, so this is my soundboard right here, right? This is my amazing tool for doing this show, and it's all in pieces because that is the micro USB port that broke off of the board right there. You can see where the hole is right up here. Now, during the middle of the week, I was sitting here thinking, well, you see that battery right there? That's what allows this thing to run not plugged in. Well, that battery is dead, and because I ran it the last show I ran it on, I didn't realize it, but it wasn't charging. I was running it on the battery, and I wound up running the battery out. And I got to thinking, I was like, well, I don't know anything about the battery, like what the voltage is or anything like that. And I got thinking, well, what if I just took a USB, and because it was Tim's video on making the camera, and he explained that the inside the USB cable you had the positive and negative 5 volt and the two data wires, and I got to thinking, I was like, I could just cut a USB cable and then bring the power wire, bring it through the hole right here, and then put the positive and the negative on either side of the where the battery connects, and power the soundboard. Right? I mean, it makes sense to me, but
Uh,
that is now. I mean, here's the thing though. That is 5 volt, and this is a 3.7 volt battery. Now, I would assume that while this thing is plugged in, 5 volt is going to this battery to charge it, but 3.7 is all that is required for this soundboard to work. So I'm assuming that I could put 5 volt from a USB into these leads where this battery is at, or I mean, I don't even need to take the battery out. I could just solder it to the leads because I've got extra little tabs sticking out here, and I think that would work. I'm going to try it anyways because otherwise, I mean, if I don't do anything, this is a big old pile of trash. So I think I'm going to give that a shot this afternoon. Wait, yeah, well, I'm going to give that a shot as soon as I can find my soldering iron. And
hold on, hold on.
okay,
Big Dog is giving you some info. It is a 18650 vape battery, 3.75
three.
VDC. No, that is a lithium ion. It will overheat. Not good. Just replace the battery.
Okay, I do have two spare batteries because a girl that I had staying here, well, for the last like 2 weeks or whatever, had like 6 of those things for her vape,
So
and
that's
so
that's another
she, gave,
option.
she gave me 2 of them. Yeah, so I do have 2 more batteries.
Get a charger for those, and then just replace the batteries as it dies.
Okay, so I couldn't put 5 volt to it. Okay then.
You would need a smart adapter kind of thing that once it's full, it stops charging and just runs like a trickle charge maintainer. You know,
Okay, well, what if I took the battery out? Or would that still be too much power? Because now it's completely possible that 5 volt doesn't go to that thing, that it goes through one of those components that brings the voltage down to 3.7, and I don't know what that charges at. I was just kind of assuming that the 5 volt DC was going straight to that battery to charge it, but I don't know. Uh, but I can totally remove that battery, hook up wires, and then like build a thing, because that battery is soldered in.
Yeah.
But I could build a thing where I could slide the battery in and take it out and replace it. That's off to the side and not actually inside the soundboard.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was,
Tim Tim says you can wire in a smart charger and you're good. Now,
oh,
Tim, when you say, just while I have you here, smart charger, for example, um, I have
like one of the
several of
chargers for a
these.
vape battery.
I have several of these, uh, and they're adaptive chargers. So what these do is they vary the voltage needed for the device, I believe. So would that be considered a smart charger, or do you specifically
No, no,
need?
no.
Okay,
A smart charger specifically stops charging when the battery is full instead of continuously putting power to it. Like if you've ever had a phone and you plugged it in and it gets really, really, really hot, that's because it's continuing to charge past the full battery a lot of times, and that can be problematic. But
I have
because of
this.
the whole, I can't see you, so
Oh,
you know.
it's a digital charger for lithium ion the vape batteries. Anyway,
Does it fit these ones? Does it
yeah,
have
it charges
okay,
those.
that's okay. That's the same charger that Emily had, and or I mean, obviously, and she's like, I got a spare one somewhere. If you want to wait for me to dig it out, it's like, nah, don't worry about it. I was like, I can pick one up at a vape shop or something like that.
But
And so
what Tim's saying is your idea, if you use a smart charger with a built-in voltage regulator and a shutoff at full charge, your idea of just hardwiring a USB to it or hardwiring that smart charger to it will work.
okay, cool. That's I think that's what I'm going to go with, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's going to cost me $200 to replace that soundboard, and if I can find something with it that's within my skill set that's considerably cheaper than that to do, that's what I'm going to do. And so I think that's a good plan as far as the wiring in the battery charger. I hadn't thought of that. I had thought about just wiring in like a cradle that I could drop the batteries into, like that's got the contacts on either side, and then just dropping in batteries as I need them. Of course, I would still have to have a charger to charge the batteries anyway, so it makes sense that I could just wire the charger right into the soundboard.
Right.
So thanks for the help there, Tim. I do appreciate it. I will get that done. Well, I should be able to get that done in here in the next couple days sometime. So, well, not today, obviously, because the getting place is closed because it's Sunday. But
Right. But anyway, uh, lithium would be a good metal of the week, and discussing lithium batteries and etc. That'd be a fun one.
yeah,
Because
yeah, we will get to lithium in due course. There's a
there's a
reason I've been putting that one off, but
I wanna find a lithium battery and cut it open and
oh
spread
no,
it
you do not. No, you
and
do not.
and
No, you
and
do not.
and throw that in. No, I will not. No, because you can get in trouble on YouTube for even suggesting that.
I have done that because you literally, the way you open up a battery is with a copper cutter. You just take a pipe cutter and run it around it, and you can just pull
Hold on,
pull the two ends off the battery. But
careful. Yeah, because what I was gonna say is I was gonna set up a bucket of water and a pulley system out in the middle of my yard, with some string, and just set up the camera and let it go. But I think I'd get in trouble on YouTube for that one. But
and I was doing it over the trash can in my house, and I just got a couple pairs of pliers, and I'm breaking little pieces off, and this is just a battery to an old flip phone that I had long, long time ago, and then the freaking battery caught on fire. I mean, and it started smoking. I was like, and it kind of scared me, and I dropped it into the trash, and it lit my trash on fire in the kitchen in the house. And so then I'm grabbing up the trash can and running outside with it, and I was like, okay, note to self, that was a bad idea. So yeah, don't open up a lithium battery. The exposure to moisture in the air will ignite the
especially,
lithium. So
yeah, especially with how um, humid it is here. So
yeah,
yeah, fair point. All right.
That
Um,
is a dangerous undertaking that is completely unnecessary. I mean, while lithium is fun to play with in that respect, it is considerably more. Yeah, we'll get into that when we do lithium.
yeah. Thanks for the heads up because I got an old phone that the lithium battery just expanded and broke everything in it, and I'm like, ooh, lithium that I can tear apart. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, with that, let's move on to our final thoughts and our farewells. um. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, oh yeah, I forgot that I don't have a third person to bounce off of first. Today's episode was about gallium, and we found out, or I found out, or maybe we all did, I don't know, that it is not really conducive to forging. Who'd have thought? Well, apparently everybody would have thought because nobody else has ever done it, or at least not on YouTube. And so
Hi, Tim.
yeah, don't bother trying to freeze it and smack it with a hammer. Been there, done that.
Doesn't work.
It was kind of a waste of time. Other than the entertainment factor, it was kind of a waste of time. So gallium, yeah, not the best thing to make a leaf out of. However, if you want to dissolve some aluminum, that's going to be your go-to. That's not an acid. Um,
That's your Gal Friday.
Yeah, and I mean that's all I got to say about lithium. See, now you got me all off on the wrong stuff. That's all I got to say about gallium. Really, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Um, Next week is going to be a heck of a weekend. I will be catching you guys from the road if I have service. I'm not even sure where I'm
So
going to be.
might
What I
just
mean,
be me and Adam.
I don't know. I mean, like theoretically, Showtime. Oh gosh, no. I was going to say I should be around Atlanta, but no, I should be by the time it's Showtime, I should be well clear of Atlanta by a few hours. So um, yeah, we'll see where I'm at, and if I've got service, I will hit the Discord and make the chat. And if I don't, well, y'all will know that I'm on the road and I got no service. So that's where
On
I'll
the
be
road
next week.
again?
So in the meantime, the weather's beautiful here. I think I'm gonna stay out in my shop and I'm gonna make something today. I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but I'm gonna have fun doing it. And I would encourage all of y'all to do the same thing. Get out your shop, make something, and most importantly, have fun. And I will see you guys in a week.
Yep. Uh, as always, big thank you to all the super chatters, all the channel members, all the people chatting. Y'all make this show great. And huge shout out, huge thanks to Transcendental Artist Studios for gracing us with immense knowledge and risking it all at the anvil to prove that knowledge is important. It's a beautiful day here, only 83 degrees. Uh, I will be getting out into the shop, sweating to the oldies, and yeah, the show tonight will be in my shop, unlike last week. So, looking forward to it. 6 p.m. right here on this channel. You get to watch me actually hold a hammer this time. So, thank you all for showing up. Tim, Roy, Ben, Toons just showed up, whatever. Or to God, everybody. You guys have a wonderful day. Be safe and be creative. That
Hmm.
is our show.
The more you know, and knowing is half the battle.